All right, everyone. Good afternoon, or morning, or evening, wherever you're holding when you're listening to this. We are welcome to the Elokus podcast. This is class number 28 in the discourse Naso Rosh, which is the fourth discourse in the great book Bishash Ekdimu Tafresh Ayin Beis. We are holding a middle chapter 17, and this is the second class in chapter 17. So, yesterday we learned how the root of the oiros, the root of the lights, and the root of the kalim. One of them is in the 10 spherois, the hidden 10 spherois, hagnuzos, and that's called bitzal meinu in our form. And then it says, and then the root of the vessels is the rishimu in the Or Ein Sof, is the trace that's called the power of the limitation that's within the Or Ein Sof, and that's called kidmu seinu in our image. And when it says Naso adam bitzal meinu kidmu seinu, it's much higher than what we're used to thinking, that it's referring to the human being below. And it means to make the human being below in the image of the divine attributes above, but higher. The divine attributes itself are made in the image of the Or Ein Sof, because within the Or Ein Sof there is already a source for the oiros, and there is a source for the kalim, for the vessels. So yesterday, all the way at the end, he brought in a teaching from Alter Rebbe in the Anachas of Pinchas, in which over there he explains how he brings that in Atzmos, in the essence, there is no spheres. However, in the light, even in the Or Ein Sof, there is spheres. However, you can't say 10 spheres. Instead, it would be spheres ein kates. That was the last thought we were learning yesterday. It would be infinite and boundless spheres. So he explained. So we were till now saying that the first concept of spheros that there is in the Or Ein Sof are the 10 hidden spheros. And they come into being in the Alois HaRatzon. Once there is a will, and a will within the Or Ein Sof to create worlds, that kind of narrows the light and starts to produce, in this most subtlest of way, 10 spheres. However, beyond that is the Or Ein Sof, there's no spheres. Now he says that only in Etzem, in Atzmos, there is no spheres. But in Or there is spheres. However, they would be spheres ein kates, which means infinite amount of spheres. So he explained yesterday, in the class we learned yesterday, that since Or is Giloi, since the light is some level of revelation, every revelation comes in a manner of Sphira. But since this is a revelation to himself, not as a revelation to worlds, so over here, everything is in a level of believable, utterly believable. And therefore, believable means without limitation. And that would mean that the spheros that come out are also without limitation, both in quantity and in quality. In quantity is that we're dealing with spheres ein kates. The spheros are in that level without a limit. There's endless amount of possible, not like 10. Everything in our system of existence, the entire universe is built on a system of 10 spherot. But beyond the limited light, beyond the Esespheres Agnuzos, if you go really into the Or Ein Sof before the Tzimtzum, over there's spheres ein kates. The spheres are without an end. And also that the spheres themselves, every single one of them, is pashut, is utterly simple. And then we were asking yesterday, how can that be? What would differentiate one from the other? How can they both be spheres and be at the same time pashut without an end? How do you have then one sphere, another sphere? What would differentiate? It's all simple. So we didn't give an answer on that, and we're not going to have an answer to that now. We're going to have an answer to that later on in the book. But I'm just, this is what he's developing. But the main point that he's bringing forth over here is that we shouldn't think that in the Or Ein Sof that's higher, that's not the source of the Kav. The lower part of the Or Ein Sof is the source of the Kav, which is the source of the Kav is the energy that's directed into creation. No. Over there we have 10 spheres. That's already where we start. We say that's called Nasa Adam. Let us create man, Bitsal Meinu. That's where Hashem is already an image of man. But above the image of man, above the form of man in the Or Ein Sof, over there's no spheres. So he says, yeah, there are spheres, but the spheres are incate. So that's what he's talking about. We're going to continue today. Ikiyadua, and Ikiyadua as it is known, Be'inyan Antuchad, in the idea where it says Antuchad, you are one, V'loi b'chushban. So it says in Pasach Eliyahu, that's a passage of the Zohar which Eliyahu Hanavi introduces, and over there he says you are one, V'loi b'chushban, but not in the calculation of spheres. The Liyoisei Chad be'etzem. So there are, at some times we usually learn and understand that Antu Chad is referring to the essence. Antu Chad, you are one. And the essence is V'loi b'chushban, is not within the cheshbon, is not within the calculation of any of spheres, because he's utterly above the concept of spheros, of attributes. However, over here he's going to learn, no, that Antu Chad is also referring to the light, the Or Ein Sof. However, the Or Ein Sof, as it is in its purest, highest state. On that we say, so over there we're going to say, there is spheres, there is attributes, but the attributes are incates, are without an end, and therefore there is no number, and they're all one because there's no difference between one and the other because they're all pashut. But again, how are we differentiating them to be many? Okay, I don't know. At this point, we're going to remain with the question. But he says, this is what it says, Antu Chad, you are one, V'loi b'chushban, not within a calculated counting. Sphira, by the way, is from one of the meanings of the word sphira is to l'saper, to count. So sphira means numerous. But when you're dealing with infinity and beyond, and then it's beyond number. But he says, but what does that mean? Since on this level the light is not yet divisible, the light is still simple. That's what we're learning. This level, the light doesn't have any definitions yet. Doesn't have even the slightest, because it's not intended for the creation at all. So there's no slant in the light. It's just pure chad. It's pure simple one. Al kain, therefore, it's not within the calculation of numbers. Hainu, what does that mean? Bihispashtus ein shir. It means that it expands without a limit, so there's no number. Shezeu inyan, he says in the small little parentheses of it, Shezeu inyan spheres ein kate, spheres without an end. Umemela, and since it's utterly limitless, I guess because the light is so simple, when we say spheres without an end, would really mean there's a hypothetical of endless amount of revelations coming from it. But in this state, these possibilities, while they exist within the essence, while they're still in the state of light, of pure light, it's not. Let's say we would say it can produce blue, it can make green, it can be yellow, it can be purple, it can be brown, and it can be infinite amount of other colors that we don't even know exist, that don't even exist in our reality. Because our reality of colors is based on 10 sefirot, because even colors come from that. Everything in this world comes from that. But if you're dealing still with the light, while it's still utterly infinite, it's infinite amount of colors. But the colors, while they exist in this state, are not colored. But it's not like a level that has, in the literal sense, all these colors. So that's what we mean. It's enkate, it's without an end. But at the same time, antuchad, it's simple, it's one, it's not divisible. Umemela kol ha-hispashtos, all of its infinite expansion, hu b'pchenas chad, is in a state of oneness. So that's the meaning both, as we said earlier, quantity, it's infinite. You see, once there is some kind of a coloring or some kind of a definition that defines the light, then it's no more infinite possibilities. It's whatever fits into this box. It's like you imagine all the potential type of combinations you can make from 10 spheres. You can make billions and gazillions of them, but it still has an end. It's not infinite. It's not without an end. But when the light is not defined in 10 at all, and then it's in its true infinity, then the possibilities are utterly limitless. But yet, in this state, these limitless possibilities, when the possibility for this and the possibility for that is still in its utter abstraction, where every single possibility is still absolutely the same one to the other. The possibility for blue and the possibility for red is the same possibility. It's not any different one from the other. It's the same clear color that's not blue and not red and not yellow and not anything, but yet it's the possibility for all of them. I think that's what it means. That's how I'm understanding it. That's why all of its espashtus in the infinite possibilities is all one. Remember, this is in the level of the Or Ein Sof. That's the higher part of the Or Ein Sof, not the Or Ein Sof once it already envisions a creation. Because then it becomes fixed into 10, as we discussed. And then you have already the image of man. It's already a certain image, and it has already definitions. And then then it's not loy b'chushban. It's not in a cheshbon, not in a numbered, not in a, because it is calculated. It's 10 spheres, and they're also not utterly simple, because there is already a very, 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 very slight undertone of differentiation. Okay, but before this state, before there is a will for creation, the possibilities are endless. And like there is a mashal given in Idra Zuta. Idra is a passage of the Zohar in which Reb Shimon Bar Yochai gathers his students in I think it was a semicircle, and there was an Idra Rabbah and an Idra Zuta. Idra Rabbah meant it was a larger group. Idra Zuta was a smaller group. So in the Idra Zuta it says, gives a mashal, when it talks about the abstractness of the light, he says, Kai hai boitzina, like this lamp, the ispashet l'chol star ve'ibar, that expands, the light that comes out from the lamp expands to all directions. V'kad be'ino lamindalain, but when you come to know it, each one of these rays going into all directions, like tishkach, you will not find ela boitzina bilchadai. You'll only find one simple light. In other words, it's going in all directions, and maybe it means different possible colors, but in essence, it's only one light. Okay, but this is in a level of light. But if you go higher than the light, and you go to the source of the light, the essence, and in the essence of the luminary, lo yesh spherois klal. Over there, it's not infinite spherois. There is no spherois at all. Ubemakam achar mavur, and elsewhere it is explained. Dahainu. Watch this. That when we say that in the essence there is no spherois, we don't even mean the essence. Because about the essence, we can't even say that it doesn't have spheres. And we don't have to say that it doesn't have spheres. When we say that in the essence of the luminary there is no spheres, we mean in the essence of the light when it's in the luminary. What does that mean? So we were talking earlier that there's two levels of light. One level of light is when the light is already a light with intention to shine to somebody. That's the lower level of the Or Ein Sof, and over there is Esa Spheres Agnuza, is the 10 hidden spheres. Then the deeper level of the light is when the light is shining for himself, not for anybody else. And over there is where we discussed just now, is where the light is infinite in its creativity. The light can shine in every possible and impossible way. There is no end. And over there is where we say the concept spheros ein kates. The spheros are without a limit, and the spheros themselves are pashut betachlis apshitos. They're simple with utter simplicity. Okay. Now we're coming to a third level, where we're saying there's a level in the light where you can't even say any spheros. Over here, the light is beyond even the concept of infinite spheres. So what we're going to say now is 3 levels of light. Now, I mentioned this already about 10 classes ago. In the beginning of the class, when we brought the concept of Spheres Agnuzos, over there I mentioned that there's 3 levels of light. Briefly, but we didn't explain it then. One level of light is light, and there's no spheres at all. The next level, and like we were thinking earlier before we began this chapter, we said spheres Agnuzos is the 10 spheres that are hidden. That's the lower level of light, and beyond that there is no spheres. But in this chapter, we found out that even in the level of light that's higher than the 10 spheres Agnuzos, even before the will to create, in the light itself, there is spheres, but the spheres are limitless, without an end. Spheres ain't kates. But now we're saying that there is even a higher level of light, where the light doesn't have any sphere at all. No, it's beyond the concept of why. And which level is that? That's when the light is still in the source. So let's discuss 3 levels of light. Every light, obviously, goes out of the source. It's an illumination. But if a bulb can give a light outside of the source, if the sun can give rays of light outside of the sun orb, the sun globe, very rays. And that's called Oyer HaKolul B'Mo'or. The light that is still included in the Mo'or itself. The light when it's not shining anywhere. That's level 1. Level 2, when the light comes out of the source, but it comes out without any adjustments. It comes out of the source as is. So it's already a revelation. The light in the source is not a revelation. It's the light still in the source. It's not revealed. The next level is the light in a state of Giloi, in a state of revelation. But a revelation for himself, which means it's not adjusted to anybody. And that's called Orein Seif. And the third level is when there is already in this light, in this divine power, there is a desire to create worlds. Then the light adjusts already. And here is where these 3 levels are called as follows. Etzem ha'or, the essence of the light. That's the first level. That's when it's still in the source. Gilui ha'or, the revelation of the light, la'atzmo, for himself. And the third level is Gilui ha'or, the revelation of the light, lizulasai, to someone outside of himself. 3 levels of light. Now, in these 3 levels is when we say like this. When the light is already illuminating lizulasai, it has to become limited already with context. It can't remain with infinite potential. It's like a person trying to teach something and every second they're shooting out something else. No student can ever hear that. Every second there's brilliant lights coming, fireworks happening in the mind of the teacher. Non-stop, boom, 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 boom. There's no student there. You can do that yourself when you're on your own intellectual monkey bar. But if you're a teacher, you have to focus. You have to have a few points in your class, and this is what you can deliver, and this is what you're going to teach. So that's the narrowing of the light. Then there's, in Hashem, that's already 10 hidden spheres in the Orein Sof. Then there is the light as he's shining with his infinite potential for himself. That light has spheres without an end. Now, why do we say there's spheres? And remember, the reason is because every giloi, every revelation cannot be without a sphera. If it's a revelation, there's spheres. But over here, it's infinite spheres. But all the spheres are all one. There's Ein Sof spheres, but they're all one. And that's what he gave the example of the lamp, that it's shining in all directions, but it's all, when you look carefully, you'll see it's the same light. Spheres Ein Kate, spheres without an end. Then we go back to the etz, and then the last level is called etzem ma'or, the essence of the light, when it's still inside the ma'or. Over there's no spheres at all. And the reason is, because it's not a giloi. When do spheres come out? When there's giloi. Giloi means revelation. This is light. This is the essence of light before it's revealed. So over here we say there are no spheres at all. How about deeper than the light? The light is a ray, is a revelation of the essence. The light, even in the essence, is, however, just a ray of the essence. It's not the essence. How about the essence itself? The essence of the self, we don't even say he's above spheres. We don't speak at all about the essence. We don't know anything about the essence. And to say that it's above spheres, not above spheres, it's not even within the context of spheres at all. And that's what, when the Alter Rebbe said that in the essence there are no spheres, he didn't mean in the essence of the illuminator. He means in the essence of the light, when it's within the illuminator, then there are no spheres. But when the light comes out in Revelation, it's spheres ein kates, it's spheres without an end. And then when the light entertains shining to a student, to a world, to create, then it narrows, and there is hidden 10 spheres, essa spheres agnuzes. So let's read this inside. Mavur is explained in the essence of the light, as it is included in the essence himself. When the light is not in a state of being drawn and revealed at all from the essence. On that level, over there is no spheres. Shame, and just like the Ba'oir Ein Sof Shalifnei Atzimtzum. And now, okay, so once we have this idea that in the light are 3 levels, and now he's not going to talk about the highest level of the light, where the light doesn't have any spheres. Okay, let's that was a new idea that we just discussed, but let's put that on the side burner. What we are now going to focus on is that in the light that is revealed from Hashem, in the Or Ein Sof, in the light that does go out of the essence, is a light that comes to revelation. In general, there are 2 levels. There is a level of that light where it's Ein Sof, spheres ein kates, without an end, and it is utterly simple, and therefore you can't ascribe to it any type of description of human, of Adam. It's above it all. On that level, we say Kiloi Adam, who is not a man. And the lower level of the Or Ein Sof is when the Or Ein Sof already is adjusting itself to be a source for creation, and then there's 10 spheres. So he says, and just like in the Or Ein Sof that's before the Tzimtzum, there are 2 levels in general. Number 1, the light, which is in a state of Ein Sof. In a state of Bli Gavul, one is the light that is literally Ein Sof, B'chinas Bli Gavul, without an end. Yes, we said the higher level. V'abeis, and the second level of the light is Shoyrish U'makar HaKav, the root and the source of the Kav. Sheba Or Ein Sof, the root and the source of this thread. Sheba Or Ein Sof, which is a lower level of the Or Ein Sof, where the Or Ein Sof becomes already a source for the Kav. Which on this level we speak of Shen Esa Spheres Agnuzos, our 10 hidden spheres. So just like in the Or Ein Sof, we can depict these 2 levels. So the same thing translates way, way lower down, further down the pipeline. Now we're going to step away from this amazing place from before the Tzimtzum, and we're going to move post Tzimtzum, and we're going to go down. We're going to zoom into our small little galaxy. What's our galaxy? Our galaxy would mean, I don't mean the physical galaxy, our galaxy, but I mean when I say physical, when I mean galaxy over here, I mean we're going to zoom in to the cluster of worlds which make up our existence. Atzilus, Bria, Yetzir, and Asiya. And which in Atzilus there are 10 spheres. And above Atzilus there is a level called Keter, the crown. So he's now going, which in general is the light, that to our world, that's like considered the infinite light. Keser is called the infinite light. So in Keser, which relative to our 4 worlds is considered infinite light, in Keser itself, we will also differentiate these 2 levels. The external part of the Keser would be similar to the lower part of the Orin Sof, where we can speak of 10 hidden spheres. Spheres agnuzos. That's why in Keser we mentioned that Keser has within it Chachma shebe Keser, Chesed shebe Keser. We speak about all the features in Keser, even though Keser is still Orin Sof, because just like even on a much higher level in the Orin Sof before the Tzimtzum, we say that in the source of the Kav, in the lower part of the Orin Sof, we can on an infinitely higher level, however, depict the Spheres Agnuza is hidden, embedded in the Orein Sof. So, of course, on a much lower level, where the Orein Sof is hugging our four worlds and hugging the world of Atzilus, it's surrounding the world of Atzilus, and it's considered infinite light compared to the world of Atzilus, that Keser has two levels. The lower level of Keser is called Erech Anpin, the long face. By the very notion that we call it the long face implies that it has facial features. But on the other hand, we're calling it long because it means it's still infinite. It's unlike the spheros, which are already limited. The kalim, like we discussed, of Atzilus are already limited. Over here, they're called, it's pure infinity. But there is 10 spheros hidden in the Or. And then there is the higher part of Keser called Atik Yom, Ancient of Days, and that would be reminiscent and that would be similar to the higher element of the Orein Sof, where there's no spheros at all, where there was pure infinite light, and if there's spheros, it would be spheros Ein Kates, and simple with utter simplicity. That's the parallel that he's drawing now. So, the same as in the levels after the Tzimtzum, Keser da Atzilus, in the level of Keser of the world of Atzilus, the essence of Keser is above 10 spheres. Just like the essence of the Orein Sof is above the 10 hidden spheres. Umisham, and from the level of Keser itself, of the crown itself, spheres in case. There can possibly be endless spheres. It wouldn't have to be only 10. And this that we speak of many places, that there is a level called Chachma that's in Keser, called Chachma Stima, the concealed Chachma. And emotions of Keser, there's the Chesed of Keser and the Gevura of Keser, which are, so hey, that's the lower part of Keser. Hein sharshe esa spheres the oiros kamoishem klulim bekeser. That is the source of the lights of the 10 spheres. Not the kalim, not the vessels of Atzilus, but the lights of the Atzilus, which they are coming from Keser. So these lights are not utterly simple, and even when they are in Keser, they're also not utterly simple. And on a very benign way, they exist already, similar to the concept of Esa Spheres Agnuzais, of the 10 hidden spheres. Kamoishem Klulim Bekeser, that's the nether part of the Keser. Avala Keser Atzmoi, but the Keser himself, is utterly above 10 spheres. Now, based on this, he's gonna swing around now to reconnect to the beginning of 3 discourses ago. He's going to answer the questions that we had not 3 classes ago, not 3 chapters ago, 2 or 3 discourses ago, where he's going to return to the question, are the spheros called something from nothing, or are the spheros of Atzilus a continuation and a Giloy Ahelim, a revelation of something that is hidden, a hidden potential that's coming into actualization? And we had this whole question regarding Chachma, is it something new or is it ready? Based on what we just learned, we're going to understand that since there are 2 dimensions in Keser, depending how we're looking at Keser, it seems a little confusing right now. It'll make a lot of sense, Be'ezras Hashem, tomorrow as we pick up Be'ezrat Hashem class 29, Be'ezras Hashem. Meanwhile, have a wonderful Chanukah, and let's see Mashiach.